Tasmania is one of the beautiful and greatest islands that you should visit in your lifetime. Tasmania is an island in Australia. It is also known as Apple Isle, Tassie or Tass. Tasmania is Australia's largest island and home to some of the most unique wilderness experiences. It is located 240 kilometers to the south of the Australian mainland, separated from it by the Bass Strait. The state encompasses the main island of Tasmania, the 26th largest island in the world, and the surrounding 1,000 islands. It is Australia's least populous state with 569,825 residents as of December 2021, according to statistics. The state capital and largest city is Hobart, with around 40% of the population living in the Greater Hobart area. Now, I'll tell you about my recent 10 days road trip experience around Tassie, the places where we stayed and visited, by sharing many photos and videos that I have taken in this trip. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel Helens Vlog so that I can bring you more of these travel videos in future. Okay guys, let's look at the details about our trip. We started our journey from Brisbane to Hobart International Airport. Our first stay was in Villa on the Bay in Lauderdale. We found this accommodation through booking.com and it was very convenient, neat and tidy place to stay. Here you can see some beautiful pictures of the sunset that was taken from the balcony of this apartment. Next day, we traveled from Lauderdale to Port Arthur to visit the Port Arthur historic site. The distance from Lauderdale to Port Arthur is about 95 kilometers and it took nearly 1.5 hours to drive. Port Arthur is a place of national and international significance, part of the epic story of forced migration and settlement of Australia. Port Arthur was much more than a prison. It was a complete community home to convicts, military and civilian officers and their families. Containing more than 30 historic buildings, extensive ruins and beautiful grounds and gardens, the site has many stories to explore. The visitor center provides the information and visitor guides. You can purchase the day passes from this center and it is valid for 2 consecutive days and includes many items. Interactive experiences for all ages in the Port Arthur Gallery, a 20-minute harbour cruise passing the dockyard point, Poor Boys Prison and the Isle of the Dead. The Port Arthur audio experience, complimentary side talks and stories about the Port Arthur's history, and a great chance to chat to a member of the staff. The museum, 30 historic buildings, ruins, restored houses, grounds and gardens, the convict water supply trail and the dockyard are some of the things that you can explore at this site. The weather at Port Arthur can be changeable. Most tours can take place outdoors and operate in all weather, so be prepared with sun protection and warm clothing, a raincoat or umbrella. The Port Arthur Canal Station was established in 1830 as a timber-getting camp using convict labourers to produce sawn logs for government projects. From 1833, Port Arthur was used as a punishment station for repeat offenders from all the Australian colonies. By 1840, more than 2,000 convicts, soldiers and civil staff lived here, and Port Arthur was a major industrial settlement producing a range of goods and materials, everything from worked stone and bricks to furniture, clothing, boats and ships. On 29 August 1916, Port Arthur was officially recognized as a place of historic interest by the Scenery Prevention Board. By the 1920s, some convict period buildings had become museums, hotels and shops, and the settlement was once again named Port Arthur. Today, the site is managed by the Port Arthur Historic Site Management Authority, which formed in October 1987. In July 2010, Port Arthur and 10 other sites were inscribed on the World Heritage List as the Australian Convict Sites World Heritage Property. Now you can see some photos and videos of the Tasman Arch, Borehole, a porcupine, and the Tasmanian Chocolate Foundry that we visited on our way back to Hobart. Next day, we traveled from Lauderdale to Geveston. This 110-kilometer journey was about 1 hour 40 minutes drive. In these videos, you will see the skywalk and the bushwalk as part of the Tahoon adventures. On the way back from town, we visited the Mount Wellington and beautiful sceneries from the mountain. Although weather was a little bit windy when we arrived there in the afternoon, snow was falling soon after that. Therefore, we had to leave the mountain earlier than we planned and then had a rest in the Hobart city. Next day, it was a long drive from Lauderdale to St. Helens. This is roughly about 250 kilometers journey, and it takes about 3.5 hours to drive in normal road conditions. On the way, we visited Freycinet National Park and the Wineglass Bay Lookout. Around the world, national parks have been created to preserve truly magical places, and where there's no doubt, Freycinet National Park has a magic of all its own. Freycinet has global appeal. It is iconic, memorable, and breathtaking. The park is best known for the stunning beauty of Wineglass Bay, its crystal clear waters and curvaceous white beach is one of Tasmania's most celebrated views. Freycinet National Park offers a variety of coastal activities. Walk up into the hazards to the lookout for spectacular views of Wineglass Bay. Trek and camp the entire length of the Freycinet Peninsula on the 3-day walk or leisurely explore Freycinet, Azure bays and white sand beaches.
Should we go?
No, let's go for one. Group up. And then you take the leading. Hold back.
On the way to St. Helens, we didn't forget to visit a winery at Swansea. Please stop at Milton Winery to taste the best wines from the cool climate. St. Helens is the largest town on the northeast coast of Tasmania. It is known as the game fishing capital of Tasmania and also renowned for its oysters. It's located on the Tasman Highway about 160 kilometers east of Tasmania's second largest city, Launceston. Today, the town is a popular resort for fishing, swimming and other aquatic activities. Its economy is based largely on tourism, fishing and timber. We stayed in a nice and tidy house at the top of the mountain with beautiful views of the bay. On the fifth day of our trip, we traveled to Binalong Bay, Bay of Fires, the shop in the bush, Pyangana Dairy and a very old tiny mining town called Pioneer at the east coast of Tasmania. Located in the beautiful Pyangana Valley, Pyangana Dairy is home of Australia's heritage farmhouse cheese. The tradition of making cheese on farms in the Pyangana Valley dates back to 1880s. Here you see some wonderful photos of the Pyangana dairy farms and the underground cheese storage in the middle of the restaurant. This is our 6th day of the trip. Today we are planning to travel to Launceston, Tama Valley and then to our accommodation at Penguin, a small town close to Burnie. At Penguin, we stayed in a place called High on Penguin that we booked through booking.com. The top attractions to visit in Tama Valley are Cataract Gorge Reserve, the Grendel Walled Swiss Village Shopping Centre and Tama Valley Wine Trail. Here you can see some of these beautiful photos at the locations. Tasmania is a place of wild and dramatic landscapes, down-to-earth locals with a relaxed island lifestyle, wonderful food and wine, and a haunting history evoked by World Heritage listed convict ruins and ancient Palawa Tasmanian Aboriginal culture. It's also Australia's smallest state and the most geographically diverse, with over 40% protected as national parks, it serves and UNESCO World Heritage areas. Every road, every country lane, every track in Tasmania leads to discovery and surprise. Self-drive journeys on this compact island offer the freedom to find the things you need. Natural wonders, inspiration, adventure, great fish and chips, and much you never expected. Plot a journey or follow a trail and see where the detours take you. On the day 7, we went to Cradle Mountain from Penguin. The country roads from Burnie towards Cradle Mountain are very amazing, as you can see in these videos. Welcome to Tasmania's iconic national park in the heart of the 1.4 million hectare Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area. Immerse yourself in this extraordinarily beautiful alpine landscape of broad peaks, windswept moors, glacial lakes and tarns, and deep gorges clothed in tall, ancient forests. You will also meet a variety of wildlife. Get a taste for alpine wilderness at Cradle Mountain, one of Tasmania's most visited natural attractions, located in the northern part of Cradle Mountain Lake, St. Clair National Park. Bushwalking is the star of the show. Visitors to Cradle Mountain require a valid National Parks Pass. Park passes may be purchased from the visitor center or online. These passes are valid for all the national parks in Tassie. Shuttle bus rides are included with Parks Pass and run frequently between the visitor center and Dove Lake. Park your car at the visitor center and then you can hop on and off the bus at several different spots between these two places. Picnic and toilet facilities, a cafe, Cradle Mountain Hotel, and 24 hours self-service fuel buses are available within this facility. Here you can see some of the beautiful photos and videos that I had taken at Dove Lake and Ronnie Creek area. On the way back from Cradle Mountain, we visited the Helens Road Distillery in Burnie. We also joined the Whiskey Walk tours. It was really interesting to see the processes of making one of the best single malt whiskies in the world here in Tasmania. They released their single malt whiskies at an average of 12 years old. A road surveyed in 1820 by one of the first European survey cartographer and explorer, Henry Hellier, to bloody explore and chart the rugged, remote northwest Tasmania. A physical Helens Road once ran through the middle of where the distillery now sits. Helens Road takes its name from the spirit of its location and origins. This is the 8th day of our trip. Today we are going to Queenstown from Penguin. This journey through Zeehan and Strawn to Queenstown takes about 3.5 hours to drive, and it's roughly about 250 kilometers long. Initially, when we planned the trip, we booked our 4th accommodation in Queenstown. It could have been better if we stayed in Strawn because it's very close to the Gordon River activities and cruises. Nicknamed Silver City, Zeehan grew to be Tasmania's 3rd largest town in the late 1800s, after silver and lead were discovered, sparking the West's largest mining boom. On our way to Queenstown, we stopped at Strawn and had lunch there in a nice restaurant close to the beach. We arrived at Queenstown later in the evening. Queenstown is surrounded by a striking moonscape, a testament to the town's mining legacy. Misty Mount Owen towers above the town, which is home to artists and makers as well as some remarkable buildings including the Art Deco Paragon Theatre and the Grand Empire Hotel. The West Coast Wilderness Railway is a bespoke heritage meets wilderness experience, traveling 35 kilometers through rainforest to Strawn. Iron Ball Lookout and Horsetail Falls are a couple of kilometers away from the town that you can visit. I really enjoy looking at the beautiful colors in the sky as well as the surroundings. Next day, early in the morning, we went to Strawn to do the Gordon River cruising. The story of Sarah Island is very interesting. Sarah Island was established in the remote reaches of Macquarie Harbour in 1821. The island was used as a penal settlement where convicts laboured under the harshest conditions in the rainforest, felling woven pines for boat building. Today, the convict ruins give a chilling insight into the cruelties of convict life and especially unsettling given the overwhelming beauty of the surrounding wilderness. The walking track links important sites. The best way to visit the site is one of the several wilderness cruises operating out of Strawn. You can easily listen to these two guides and their wonderful stories about the Sarah Island for a couple of hours without any doubt.
The mudsyard is where the convicts would gather morning and night to keep track of them. And behind you were the engineer's workshop, storehouse and the commissariat store. Along the edge of the island were finishing docks and wharves staked high with timber. You can see these sandstone blocks, a retaining wall which has fallen. It was built to support the raised area where the carpenter's workshop, the bootmaker's workshop, and the cookhouse were. And behind that, the land drops away. This is a quarry for the sandstone. And at the base of the quarry, a massive millstone for grinding wheat into flour using a capstan. The quarry and the millstone are where the convicts in chains from Granite Rock worked.
Yeah, and one of them is a fellow by the name of George Lacey, who was actually one of Matthew Brady's gang, and he eventually got recaptured and sent here. When he arrived here, he decided he wanted to do what Brady failed to do. He was going to try and capture the settlement and free everyone. Problem is, he's out there on Grommet Rock. He managed to convince 8 men to join him. They knocked their chains off, they build a raft, they push the raft out into the water. The 9 men pile onto the raft, and guess what happens? It sinks. Yeah, they scramble back to shore on Grommet Rock, and there they commit the worst murder that ever occurred on Sarah Island. They brutally and they viciously drown Constable George Rex. George Rex was the valet to the Duke of Devonshire back in England, but he was transported out here for embezzlement and desertion, and he ended up on Sarah Island as a convict constable. He's in charge of all the hard men out there on Grommet Rock until Lacey murdered him. We think this was quite a symbolic murder. Lacey is murdering George Rex, and Rex in Latin means king. There are only 4 George Rexes in the world at this stage, and 2 of them are known to be illegitimate sons of King George III. So if our George Rex was an illegitimate son of the king, Lacey and his mates have symbolically assassinated the great tyrant King George IV. Isn't that extraordinary? Amazing. All right, what else have we got to see?
Well,
Oh, wait a minute, sorry, just before I'm sorry, I missed the end of the story with that one. Lacey murdered George Rex. Do you think he got away with the murder? No, he got hanged 2 months later, but I don't think he was actually worried about that. He didn't repent his crime, meaning he was very proud of what he did. Yeah, but he also walked out to the gallows and gave a speech to the convicts. Don't give up the fight, lads. Carry on the resistance. When news of that speech arrived back here, the changes on Sarah Island were quite dramatic. That's where I wanted to finish. Thank you.
Right, so through the trees are the blacksmith forges and the industrial shipyard. Let's go have a look.
We're going to go.
Cruise the glassy tanning stained waters of the Gordon River and explore the isolated former prison on Sarah Island. Hell's Gate, the narrow entry from the wild Southern Ocean to Macquarie Harbour, named by the convicts on their way to the hell on earth of Sarah Island. Step ashore and explore the harshest convict settlement in Australia. Relive the tale of how the convicts turned hell on earth into one of the largest shipbuilding yards in Australia. The highlight of this trip is we are able to cruise through the beautiful Gordon River to discover serenity in this famous wilderness with a stroll through the Asian forest at Heritage Landing. Tasmania is famous for its high quality produce and environmental consciousness. One such practice which combines these two concepts is the internationally acclaimed salmon aquaculture, which occurs in the waters around Tasmania. The quality and freshness of Tasmania's salmon is held in such high regard that it is highly sought after in Japan's for sashimi. Seeing Tasmania's salmon farms close hand and learning more about the processes which make this a sustainable product is one of the unique and unexpected experiences which make Tasmania so special. These salmon usually begin their life in hatcheries, then move to pristine seawaters such as those found in Macquarie Harbour on Tasmania's west coast. The low stocking density with 99% of water to just 1% of fish ensures that salmon are superb and environmental is protected. The dedication of Tasmania's aquaculture experts is evident by the fact that sensors are used to collect information about individual fish as well as temperature and oxygen in the pens. This information helps the breeding and feeding decisions. With this attention to detail, it is little wonder that Tasmania produces some of the world's best salmon. For your chance to learn more about the science of salmon aquaculture and taste this delicious produce for yourself, take a Gordon River cruise when visiting Strawn. Many visitors are surprised and delighted to find that the visit to Macquarie Harbour fish farms is an unexpected high point of their cruise. You certainly won't be disappointed.
Truly remarkable wildernesses of the world, a wilderness that you have now personally experienced, a wilderness lost in time. Safe travels, my friends.
Today is the last day of our trip. We started early in the morning from Queenstown just because we had to travel about 300 kilometers to the Hobart International Airport by midday. Driving the long distance wasn't too bad just because three of us sharing driving between us. On the way, we stopped at several different places for short breaks. At first, we stopped at the Derwent Bridge. My son told me last year he did a 6-day overland trekking from Cradle Mountain and ended up here at St. Clair Lake, close to the Derwent Bridge. If you are really keen, maybe that's something you can definitely plan. When I talk about our trip, it was a very interesting and entertaining trip. I'm confident that 6 of us had a wonderful lifetime experience. The cost of the trip is approximately $3,000 person, including airfares from Brisbane. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and the information provided. Please subscribe to my channel LNC Vlog to bring more of these travel videos soon. Please write your comments about the video so that I can make some improvements to these videos in the future. Thanks for watching.